Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Deadly Coder. Today in this video I will be discussing the solution of the first three problems of CodeSafe Snackdown pre-elimination round, and I was able to solve the first three, so I will be discussing them. So let's begin. Okay, so the first problem was product pain, and it says that you are given an array b1 b2 up to bm, right, and of length at least 3. Let's define its weight as the largest value of this thing, like bi minus bj into bj minus bk over all possible triples ijk, such that none of them are equal, right? And we are given an array a1 a2 up to an, and we need to calculate the sum of weights of all contiguous subarrays of a of length at least 3, right? That is the count the sum of weights of all the subarrays. Okay, so like the initial idea, as you can see from the constraints, like constraints are only up to 3000, and so you can think of some order of n square or maybe n square log n approach. So I will just quickly explain what I thought and how I proceeded. So let's see. So basically what we want to do is, like, we want to maximize this. We want to maximize uh, ai minus aj, right? Ai minus aj into aj minus ak, right? We want to find the maximum value of this, right, and sum it over all. So we want to sum over all subarrays, right, L to R, right? So for every subarray starting from L to R, we want to find the maximum value of this and just sum this over all the possible subarrays, right? So an important thing to be noticed here is that if you want to maximize this thing, ai minus aj into aj minus ak, either, and it's also given that the array is sorted, so either we should choose the indexes which are increasing, or we should choose the indexes which are continuously decreasing, right? And like if we if we just rearrange this, right, actually what I want to say is that this thing, like ai minus aj, like this thing ai minus aj into aj minus ak, so we can just interpret it like this. Uh if aj is like over here, ai is over here, like it is lesser than this or equal to, and let's say ak is over here, yeah, so aj minus ai will give this difference, and aj minus ak, okay, no, we don't want to do like this. So what I mean is basically, uh okay, ai minus aj into aj minus ak, okay. So aj must be in the middle, right, and ak should be to the left of it, and ai should be to the right of it, okay, yeah. So this is what I mean. So if we choose the indexes in such a way that ak is lesser than or equal to aj, and aj is lesser than or equal to ai, then aj minus ak, sorry, ai minus aj will essentially mean this difference, let's call it x, and aj minus ak will essentially mean this difference, y. So we want to maximize this x into y, right, provided, and it is given that x plus y, or you can say x plus y, will be constant if we just fix our ak and ai, right? So this was the observation, that all we need to do is to just iterate over all the subarrays, and if we are at the subarray L to R, right, if we are at the subarray L to R, then we know that our AK, will be A of L and our AI will be equal to A of R, right? So we just need to fix aj, right? We need to choose some j from L plus 1 up to R minus 1 which maximizes this thing, right? So what we can do over here is that we can use the fact that if AI and AK are constant, right? If AI and AK are constant, let's say my AI is X and AK is Y, then we just want to maximize this thing like X minus AJ into AJ minus Y, right? So if you just differentiate this with respect to X, it basically turns out to be minus AJ into AJ not with respect to X. It should be differentiated with respect to AJ because X and Y are fixed here and we want to choose such an AJ which maximizes this term. So we differentiate this with respect to AJ, so that will turn out to be X, or let us first simplify it and then differentiate. So it will turn out to be X into AJ, right, minus X into Y minus aj square plus y into aj, right? And so if you just differentiate it, it will turn out to be x minus 2 times aj plus y. And if you want to maximize this, you have to equate this differentiation to 0. So from here you will find that optimal aj will be having the value x plus y by 2, right? So this is the thing, x aj optimal aj should be equal to x plus y by 2, which means that once you fix your subarray from L to R, right, you fixed your AI, right? AI will be equal to uh, once you fixed your subarray L to R, basically you just fixed your AI and AK. So AK will be equal to A of L and AI will be equal to A of R, and you just only need to choose some j between L plus 1 to R minus 1 which which is nearer to this thing x plus y by 2, right? X plus y by 2, and you know that your x is A of L and y is equal to A of R, because as you can see this thing. And this is all I just did here. Basically uh, I just took n, then took the array, and like I'm just iterating over all the subarrays, like fixing the left bound and fixing the right bound, and as the length of the subarray needs to be at least 3, so iterating from I plus 2. And then I found this thing like required is equal to AI plus AJ by 2, as I said you, uh, this thing x plus y by 2, right? X is like this thing and y is like this thing, so their sum divided by 2 because this is what an optimal aj will hold. So found this required, and from moving from I plus 1 to j minus 1, like as I said you, like uh, once you fixed your I and j, the bounds of the subarray, you need to search on this range, like from I plus 1 to j minus 1, the optimal value of aj, and that should be close to x plus y by 2, right? Like, and as I already saw, x is equal to ai and y is equal to aj. So okay, so this is what I did. I found the first element which is just greater than that, and if it exists, then simply calculated this value, right? This is basically aj minus ai into aj minus, uh, basically it's like whatever is that optimal value, I calculated the value over that, this thing, right? Because now we have fixed this thing, this thing, and this thing as well. So we calculated the maximum value of this, and and also, like, once we know that because this thing x plus y by 2 may not always be some real number, right? And like, if you just see this function, if you see just this function, this is basically a decreasing function in aj, right? So if x plus y by 2 is like somewhere over here, right? Let's say it's like 4.5, then basically you obviously you cannot make your aj some decimal number. So what you do, you check the value of this function at 4, right? At 4, which is over here, and you also check at a value one higher than this, right? Which is 5, and of both these values you take the maximum one. So this is basically what I am doing. First of all, whatever is that value, I am finding the value which is just bigger than or equal to that, and calculating the value at that point. I am also calculating the value at a point one lesser than this, right? And just taking the maximum over those. So this is what I have done. So I have first found the value which is just greater than or equal to my required, and calculated the value over that, and the value which is just one lesser than that, right? So iterator minus minus is essentially doing that thing, and again taking the maximum, and whichever will be the maximum, I will take that maximum and simply add that to my answer, and that completes. And so that's complete our question solution. And talking about the time complexity, the time complexity of this will be order of n square into, because we are iterating over all the subarrays, so that will be order of n square. And doing a binary search will cost log of n, so this is order of n square log n approach. Okay, so let us move to the next problem. And the next problem is guessed like slippers. So this was problem B, right? This was problem B. Okay, so in this problem, basically you are given n pairs of slippers for their guest, and when a guest enters, he takes the first pair of slippers which are still in the line and big enough for him, and does not touch any other pairs. So basically what it means is that you are given some shoes or some slippers, you can say, like S1, S2, S3, and these are all the sizes of those slippers. And basically there will be some guest, right? And each guest will be having some required size of slipper they will need, right? And they come in a line, right? Let's say this is the first guest, this is the second guest, this is the third guest, and this is, let's say, the fourth guest. So let's say the first guest, once it's come, it first of all find from it starts searching from the beginning of this array, and whichever shoes is greater than or equal to this guest's slipper size, it will simply take that shoe, and from take that slipper, and from that point that slipper will be unavailable for other guest because this has already been taken. So so an example, let's say we have the shoe sizes 2, 5, 6 and 3, and let's say there comes a guest with a slipper size of, let's say, 7. So it will start searching from the beginning, and so it is 6 is lesser than 7, so this guest will simply skip this shoe or skip the slipper. Then it goes to 2. 2 is also lesser, 5 is also lesser, 3 is also lesser, so this guest will not be able to pick up any slipper, right? So 7, and let's say after that there comes a guest with slipper size 5. Now 6 is obviously greater than 5, so this guest will take this slipper, right? And let's say after that there comes a guest with slipper size 4. Now again it starts searching from the beginning. 6 has already been taken, it's 6 2. 2 is lesser, it will not take this. Then it comes to 5, 5 is bigger, so yes, 4 will take this slipper of size 5, right? So our task is what? Our task is that Mina and Sardanapalus don't remember how many guests they will be having and what will be their size, but they are interested in the possible subsets of taken sleepers. So a possible subset which can be empty as well is interesting if there is a configuration of guest such that all sleepers in the subsets are taken and not all sleepers not in the subsets are not taken. And we need to count the sum modulo, count the number of interesting subsets modulo this mod. So basically what it means uh, is that we know that we only know what are the sizes of the slippers lying in a line, right? We don't know how many guests are there and what each guest has the size requirement. We don't know both these things, but we are interested in saying that whether a given subset, let's say S2, S3 and Sn, let's say we are interested whether a given subset, we are interested in the count of interesting subset, and they're saying an interesting subset is one which is possible to have, right? For example, if we have this subset, then to check whether this subset is interesting or not, we need to find a configuration of guest such that if they take if the guest take their sleepers preferences in that order, then this subset will result, right? So all the shoes in this subsets should be taken by the guest, and all the slippers which are not in this subset, like in this example S1 is not in this subset, and okay, it should be Sn, then S4 is also not in this subset. So all the shoes which are not in this subset should not be taken by any guest, right? So a crucial observation in this problem was that, so if we define some kind of dp, right? Let's say we define some dp, so dp of I, right? So what does dp of I will indicate? So dp of I will indicate, like, let's say 1 2 3 up to I, right? So dp of I indicates that how many subsets are there which contains the elements up to position I and also the sleeper at position I. So let me quickly write it down. So what will this indicate? This will indicate number of subsets containing containing elements up to I and also containing the element S of I, right? So as I said, like, what does this mean? This basically means that dp of I indicates total number of subsets which contains all the elements, which contains elements up to position I, right? Which can contain all the elements up to position I and also contain the element S of I. So one crucial observation over here is that, let's say the element at position I is, let's say, 5, right? This is 5. Then the fact is that if we are taking the number SU S of I, then all the SUs which lies to the left of I and have their SU size greater than 5 must also be taken. So if I have SUs with sizes 9, 8 and 7, then if I am taking the SU at position I with slipper size 5, then I must also take the SU with sizes 9, 1, 8 and 5, because otherwise otherwise this subset will not be possible. Why? Because if you want to take the SU at position I which has the slipper size 5, then you must be the guest must demand uh, the guest must demand a slipper with size lesser than or equal to 5, right? And if it is so, then that guest will start searching from the beginning of the array. But since we already have an element which is greater than 5, then obviously the guest will simply take that. But you are saying that you are not including that. So obviously it's not possible to have the to include the slipper at position I without including any slipper which lies to the left of I and also has size greater than s of I. So it is not possible. So if you are including 5, then you must also include all the elements which lies to the left of I and has the size greater than or equal to this. Even if it is 5, that also you should include, right? So so obviously if you are calculating dp of I, then as the definition says, also containing the element s of I. So once you know that you are including this s of I, it means you are also including all the elements which lies to the left of I and has sizes greater than or equal to that, right? So like over here like over here, let's say this was 9, this is 5, then 2, then 4, then 3, right? So once I am including 5, right, I know that I will also have to include this 5 and this 9, right? I will have to include them as well, right? So the only thing which I am left with is like this 1, 2, 4 and 3, right? So what it means is that these are all optional. I can either take them or I don't take them, right? So what I want to say, that this dp of I will actually be equal to summation of dp of j where j is lesser than I and aj is also lesser than a of I. So this will be the thing, because once you know that you are taking this s of I, you are also guaranteed that you will have to take all the elements which lies to the left of it and are greater than that or equal to that. So you know that you will have to take them. So the only option left are with these smaller elements. So let's say this is 5, then what can happen is that I may try to take this, right? So in that case, my dp of 5 will be equal to dp of 3 plus, or it may be possible that I am taking 4, or I am taking 2, or I am taking 1, right? So dp of 5 will simply be the summation of these dp's, this one, this one, this one, this one, right? And once I say that dp of 5 is equal to dp of 3 plus dp of 4 plus dp of 2 plus dp of 1, what it means when I say dp plus dp of 4 and I am not including this, right? So either I include this one also, or I skip this one and or include this 4, or I include this one 2, or also exclude it and include this one. So it will be the simply the summation of all the elements which are basically lesser than, right, lesser than this 5, right? Yeah. Or actually it might also be possible that I don't include anything, right? I neither took 1, neither on or took 2. So I don't take any of 1, 2, 4 or 3. This might also be possible. So in that case, there will be just one subset, and that subset will be containing the element this 5, 5 and 9. So in that case, I will have to add 1 to it. So my answer will be 1 plus this thing. So actually this should be 1 plus this, right? 1 plus this. And this can actually be implemented with a binary index tree. So now you know that For calculating dp of j, we have to simply do 1 plus summation of, actually let's call it dp of I, 1 plus summation of dp of j, where aj is lesser than ai. So what we do, we just simply make a binary index to tree, a Fenwick tree of length 1 to 2000, because ai is 20,000 basically, because the maximum value of ai can be 20,000, and we just iterate from left to right, and whenever I am at a particular index ai, right, and so basically when I am at a particular index ai, I just query in this prefix range 1 to ai minus 1 and get this sum in log of n time, right, log of n time, and whatever result I get, I just add 1 to it and simply say that dp of this index will be this. And yeah, I just also update the value of that Fenwick tree at this index as well. So as you can see, just like slippers, so basically I have taken n, then the array, then declared this binary index tree. This is simply getting the value at a particular index, this is updating the thing, and then moving from left to right, getting all the sum of dp values for all the indexes which has the value lesser than or equal to lesser than a of I, incrementing that by 1, right, adding the answer to that, adding that result to my given answer, and then updating the, the same thing, right. So this completes the solution of problem B. Now let's move to problem C. So in this problem, what we are given? We are given a positive integer k and an array of n positive non-negative integers, and we can rearrange the elements. We want the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence of b equal to k. Okay, so let's talk about the problem C. So in problem C, basically you are given some array like this: a0, a1, a2, an minus 1. Basically you can rearrange it, right? We can rearrange it, and after rearranging we want the length of longest non-decreasing, which basically means increasing subsequence to be equal to exactly equal to k, right, and that should also be lexicographically smallest, right. As you can see, we want the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence to be equal to k, and lexicographically smallest such sequence also, right. So let's say, when can answer be not possible? So first first try to see this. So if the count of any element is greater than or equal to greater than k, then the answer is not possible. Now you can see it why it is so. So basically, let's say if you have the elements like sorry let's say if you have the element as 2, then 3, then 1, then 5, then 5, then 6, then 1, then 5, then 2, then 5, right. Let's say you have this sequence, and let's say k is given to be equal to 4. Then the fact is that it don't matter how you rearrange it, the length of longest increasing subsequence will always be greater than or equal to 4. Why? Because you see 5 is occurring, okay, uh, let's let's make this 4 as 3. mm, yeah, this k is equal to 3. Then obviously it don't matter how you rearrange it, the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence will always be greater than or equal to 4, because because these fives will always be forming a non-decreasing subsequence of length 4. So in that case, obviously the answer is not possible, right? So the first thing to be checked is to check whether the count of any element is greater than or equal to is greater than k or not, right? If it is greater than k, then the answer is not possible. Otherwise, we can intuitively prove that it is always possible to make such a sequence. Let us think of how is it. Why I'm saying that, like, if this condition is not met, okay, if this condition is not met, which means the count of any element, okay, count of if the count of any element is lesser than k or equal to k, then I want to say that the answer is always possible. So we will never need to print -1 in that case. So we let's first of all sort that given array. So after sorting, the let's say the given array looks like this, right? Then what we can do is basically we can just yeah, we can just take the first key elements from here, right? And the remaining left and the remaining n minus k elements we append to the beginning and sort that in reverse. I know that you would have been confused. So let me say it again, that one possible, so I am saying that how can we construct such a sequence which satisfies this property that it has the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence to be equal to k. How can we construct any such possible sequence? I am not focusing on the lexicographically minimum, but I just want to make one such array which satisfies that property. So what we can do, we can take the first k elements from here, and whatever is left, whatever these n minus k elements are left, we just arrange it, we just put it in the front in the reverse order. So after rearranging this, my sequence will look like this, that I have like this, and like this. Okay, so it will look something like this. So let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, let's say this is k, and let's say this is k plus 1, k plus 2, and up to n. So obviously this will satisfy the property that this sequence has the length of longest increasing subsequence to be equal to k, right? It will so obviously satisfy this property, because why? Because as you can see, if you consider on this subsegment, obviously it has the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence 1, right? Because everything is decreasing, and here everything is increasing, so the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence is actually this subarray only, and it has length k. And if you like to argue that it might be possible to have some element from here and then some element from here, then the thing is that it is not possible, because if you are taking this any element from here, obviously it will either be greater than or equal to any element from here, right? Yeah, so obviously it's not possible in that case. So this was essentially the first thing which I came with, but we also want to know what is the lexicographically minimum, right? We also want to calculate the lexicographically minimum such thing. So how can we do that? uh, So what we can do, so like as you can see that from here, now you know that why is it so that whenever the count of every element is lesser than or equal to k, then it is always possible, right? Because surely we can construct the sequence in this way that the first k smallest element you put here, and whatever is left you put those things in the beginning arranged in reverse order. Then obviously this sequence will be having the length of longest non-decreasing sequence to be 1. This will be having k, and you can never pick any element and if you want to say that we can may pick one element from here and one element from here and make those non-decreasing, then this is not possible because the only thing these because this element will always be greater than or equal to this. And if you want to say that after choosing this element you want to continue this subsequence with this element, then obviously in that case this and this will have to be made equal, right? And if this and this are equal, it essentially means that everything from starting from here and ending up to this point will also be equal, right? Yeah. And if it is so, then then the only thing you can do is that just make your length of non-decreasing subsequence to be equal to all these things, because all if this and this are equal, if this and this are equal, then this will all of these will also be equal to this, and also all of these will be equal. So then the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence will be equal to the sum of this plus the sum of this. So that will be equal to the frequency of this element only, but we already know that the frequency is already lesser than or equal to k, so obviously it will not exceed k. So yes, this completes the proof that why if the count of every element or if the frequency of every element is lesser than or equal to k, then it is always possible to construct one such subsequence. Now let's focus on the fact that we need to find the lexicographically minimum such subsequence. So now let me tell you how we can do. What I essentially initially thought is like, let's say we have these n positions and we need to fill it one by one. So what I tried to do is that I just went from the leftmost position, and for each position I tried to put everything from 1 to n, right? I just tried putting everything from 1 to n, right? And if I can put that thing, I just put that and just moved ahead, and that's it. This is essentially what you needed to do, because you want to calculate, you need to find the lexicographically minimum subsequence, right? Which means that whenever it is possible, the first position should be having the minimum possible number, right? So you just go up to each position and try putting all the numbers starting from 1 up to n, and if you can put that number there, you just simply put that, right? This is essentially what I have done here. So the first thing is that I took this n and k, and this is I'm calculating the count of all the elements, and if any of them has a count greater than k, then it's simply -1, right? Now let's come to the main thing, that how we can check whether we can put a given number there or not. So as I said you, I just tried putting every number from 1 to n at a given position. But how do I essentially check whether a number will be possible to put here or not? Let's say I am at this position, right? And let's say I put a number x over here, right? Then how can you ensure that putting a number x will ensure that there will still be a possible subsequence which can be made by putting numbers here, and ensuring that that sequence will also have length of longest non-decreasing subsequence to be equal to k. So basically what I said, that if I am putting a number x over here, right, then I just made sure, right, I just made sure that that the dp the j dp of j plus uh, dp of j plus maximum suffix of j is lesser than or equal to k, right? If it holds for all the values for j, then yes, it is possible to put the element x over here, otherwise it is not. Now let me tell you what is dp of j. So dp of j is basically what is the maximum length of non-decreasing subsequence which ends with j, right? Which ends with j. So if I am putting x over here, I just simply check. And why is it so? Dp of j plus maximum suffix of j is lesser than or equal to k, because let's say there is some subsequence which ends with element 3, right? And if there is any element, let's say 3, 4, 5, any element, right? So you know what is the length of longest subsequence element which ends at position with element 3, right? And if there is any element starting from 3, 4 or 5 which has its count, right, which has its count such that the dp of j plus, so maximum suffix of j is basically storing maximum suffix. So maximum suffix of j is basically the maximum count of all the elements from j up to n, right? So maximum suffix of j stores the maximum count of element from j to n. Now you can just think of why I'm writing like this, right? If you put any element x over here, you need to ensure this condition. Why? Because if there is any element, because let's say here only 3, so you know dp of 3 will be the length of longest subsequence which ends with 3, right? And if there is any element, let's say either 3, 4 or 5, which has its count such that dp of 3 plus the count of either 3, 4 or 5 is greater than k, then obviously we cannot put the element x over here, because in latter stages it will violate our condition that the length of longest non-decreasing subsequence is k. Okay, so that's why we need to ensure this condition, right? So this is essentially what I have done here, that we have some maximum suffix of n plus 1 equal to 0, right? So I just move for each position, just try to put all the elements from 1 to n, and if any element doesn't exist, it has been used up, then just continue. Otherwise I am having this maximum of j. So basically maximum of j is what? uh, maximum of j we will basically be storing uh, so maximum of j is the maximum dp of maximum value of dp of j, dp of j minus 1, dp of j minus 2, dot dot dot. So maximum of j is the maximum value of dp of j, dp of j minus 1, dp of j minus 2. So the maximum of all of these, right? So it's simply the max of this. So maximum of j is the maximum of all the dp's starting from 1 up to j, right? And so first of all we found that what can be the dp of j at this point, right? So first of all I try to find that like let's say if this is the position I and I am trying to put an element j over here, right? So I calculate what will be the new value of dp of j if I put the element dp of j. So essentially dp of j will be equal to 1 plus maximum of dp of k, where k is lesser than or equal to j, right? So you can intuitively think of it why it is so, because dp of j is like it ends with j. So if you want to continue from any element over here, then it must be having a value lesser than or equal to j. So that's why dp of j is like 1 plus maximum of dp of k, where k is lesser than or equal to j. And this thing, like maximum of dp of k for all k lesser than or equal to j, is basically stored in my max of k. So that's why I am simply doing 1 plus max of this k. Actually it should be j, max of j, right? Max of j, because max of j stores the maximum of all the dp's which ends at position which ends with a value lesser than or equal to j, right? So this is what, like, now is equal to maximum of j plus 1, right? And since I am using j, I decremented it counts, and I also stored the previous value of dp of j in order in the case when I need to roll back that, and dp of j will be equal to this updated value, right? And then I just calculated this maximum suffix array, and as I said you, maximum suffix of any element, anything will actually be storing the maximum count of all the elements from that up to ahead. So maximum suffix of k is equal to maximum count of all the elements, let's call it p, where p is greater than or equal to k. So maximum suffix will be storing the maximum count, right? So since I updated this count of j over here, I need to calculate this maximum suffix array once again. So I calculated this, and after calculating this, I just simply checked this condition, right? If dp of kk plus maximum suffix of kk is greater than k, then it will not be possible for me. I just simply made my flag false, right, and break. And if my flag is false, then I needed to roll back. So j will be j will remain unused. So I just incremented its count again and simply said that the dp of j will be the previous value. Otherwise b of I will be equal to j, right? And I don't need to roll back anything, and so I just simply break from here. And after each iteration, I just also update my this maximum array. You can see the definition of maximum. It is the maximum of all the dp's which ends with which ends with the element lesser than or equal to j, right? So maximum of j is equal to maximum of j minus 1 and dp of j, right? And I just additionally added this condition, although even if you don't add this, it will be fine. After that, I just printed the all the elements of b of I, right? So yeah, so this was the problem C, right? So again, I would like to reiterate the fact that the most important thing in this problem was the fact that if you are at position I, you just try putting all the elements from 1 to n, and let's say if you are putting some element j, you need to ensure that putting the element j over here doesn't violate this condition. And this condition is what? That the dp of any value, let's say v, right, plus the max of count of all the elements, let's call it v dash, must be lesser than or equal to k, where v dash is greater than or equal to v, right? And v is greater than and v lies between 1 to n, or you can say all the possible values, right? Because it's already given that any element of the array lies between 1 to n, right? 1 to n. So yeah, you just need to do this. You need to just check this thing like dp of v plus maximum of count of v dash should be lesser than or equal to k. You need to just check for all the v's starting from 1 to n. Just check if the dp of v, right? Dp of v means uh, the length of longest subsequence ending at position v, right? So you know if the length of them is x, and whatever elements are left to be filled here, if any element, let's say v dash, which is greater than this v and also has the count such that the sum of this count and dp of this is greater than k, then yes, the condition is violated and you cannot place this j over here at that point. So this was essentially the main observation, and if you can see this, you will be able to solve this problem, right? And yeah, it was a bit tougher problem. It was a bit harder problem, right? It was not so easy to come up with, but yeah. And talking about the time complexity, like as you can see, we are just going to each position, right? We are just going for each position, and so that will be order of n into, and after going to each position, I try to fill it with all the values from 1 to n. So I am trying to check for all the possibilities, so again and n, and then checking whether putting a value like over here, like let's see j, I'm trying to put j over here, and then simply trying to check whether it is possible or not. So checking again, taking order of n time. You see, we need to check this, that dp of v plus maximum of count of v dash is lesser than or equal to k for all the v's from 1 to n. So it's again taking order of n time, right? Again taking order of n time. So overall, the problem is order of nq. The problem is solved in order of nq, and since n is only up to 200, so it is fine, right? It is fine. Order of nq will work here, right? So that was all for this. So I hope you enjoyed the contest. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe my video. Thanks.